Welcome to The Dip, the podcast where we discuss our all-time favorite theme park experiences and ask, which attractions would we want to keep us company if we were stranded on a deserted island? Each episode, we invite a new guest onto the show to share the story of their favorite attractions and how it has shaped their relationship with theme parks. We'll delve into theme parks' emotional and personal significance for our guests. Join us as we journey through the deeply personal connections our guests have formed with the hobby and the impact it's had on their lives.
I'm delighted to welcome today's guest to the Dip podcast. A man of many talents, a podcaster, a YouTuber. Some call him the influencer's influencer. My friend, Bobby Healy.
Hello there, the influencer's influencer. I'll take it.
I say some people, it's me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We've known each other quite a while, so I think I have a pretty good idea of how your island is going to shape up. But there might be some curveballs, so let's see as we get into it. As is the first time, I'll do a bit of explanation. We've got 4 sections that we'll use to get to know you. Hyper, that's where we start building the island. We find out a little bit more about your preferences. We move on to Giga. This is where we travel back a little to dive into your history. We go to Strata. Here we'll do the deepest dive into your relationships with theme parks. And of course the finale, you have to end with a nighttime spectacular.
Section 1. Hyper.
So are you ready, Bobby, for the hyper?
I'm glad I'm laying down, that's for sure. I'm ready.
You ready? Right, we're going to start easy. Nice, easy question. What roller coaster would you like on your desert island?
Oh, you say easy. You're saying easy. That's not easy, is it? I guess it would have to be Velocicoaster. Now I battle back in my head of what's my favourite coaster all the time. Is it still Vengeance? Is it Velocicoaster? Is it the Ride to Happiness? But I think for the theme, Jurassic Park, or World, sorry, it has to be Velocicoaster. It's got raptors in the queue. You guys see them every day. I think that'd be good.
Would it be up there for you if it wasn't Jurassic Park?
As a coaster on
As
its
a
own.
coaster on its own. Maybe a random theme. Probably something dark, because most coasters have a dark theme.
I think that's a very good question. And I think, would it be my number one? No. In fact, I'm not actually sure it is because I can't make my mind up. Probably not. I still say top 5. I think it's still a top 5 coaster. But you are right, the theme and obviously the movie franchise it's attached to gives it a nice little bump. But I think, yeah, I'm going to stick with it. If I'm on a desert island, I think that having a bit of one of your favourite movie franchises there would warm your heart, no?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is it, though, that it's also on your most favourite theme park in the world? Does that add to the...
I think it has an advantage, yes. But it's a great coaster. And it'd give me that little bit of... I mean, this is going to be the theme of this show, I reckon. It's going to be a lot of island stuff. But, you know, I think it would give me a little taste of what was. If I was there, I'd be like, there's a bit of Islands of Adventure, a bit of Jurassic Park World, whatever you call it, franchise, and a great coaster there as well. I'm sticking.
You're sticking?
I'm sticking.
Okay, I get you, because I know your history with the ride. It's one of those, we watched it open during lockdown for us, so there was a lot of wait, a lot of anticipation, and obviously it hit that anticipation for you.
Yeah, the hype was real when that was there. I think that was like, for me, would you say the same? Or I think for a lot of us, with Bio on Twitter doing the photos and Alicia doing her bits, I think that was the most coveted coaster I had seen in terms of media, pictures, maps, and so on, out of major coasters since we've been enthusiasts.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think back to like Air, but it was a very different world back then.
Yeah.
You had to literally once a year a plane would fly over and get a picture. So I don't think anything we've not been able to watch something in real time from the rumours and the digging starting outside the Discovery Centre. We've not seen anything like that.
No, I think it's kind of not the first by any stretch, but it was like covered by all media, wasn't it? Like it was like we just saw every type of media about this ride, and then I think obviously, as you say, it was being built during COVID, so we were just at home staring at pictures of those things. So, and it lived up to it. So yeah, I'm sticking.
Okay, we'll go with that. I'm hoping it's not going to turn into you rebuilding Islands of Adventure.
Well, you invited the wrong guest onto this show.
But we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get to know you a little bit better. So if you could pick a card.
Oh no, hang on.
This is just nice and easy, icebreaker level.
Oh, this makes me.
All right.
That one.
What's a place you need to travel to before you die?
Ooh, what's a place I need to travel to? Japan. Gotta be Japan. I think it's not just for the theme parks, because I think the country looks stunning. That's why I'd like to, obviously, being a theme park fan, visit the Disney parks and the Universal out there. But I think as a country, it's it's a place I'd always wanted to go and yet haven't managed to make it over there. And obviously the last few years have delayed that even further. I think out of everything, I still, obviously, West Coast of US is up there for me. I've never been there. I'd love to go and visit there. But I think Japan has to be number one for me.
And I think we were talking earlier, and we've done a lot of we were very lucky to have done a lot of the main parks in, well, the east side of the US, Europe. So the last kind of frontier for you would be Japan. So it makes sense.
Yeah. From a theme park perspective and from a travel perspective, like if I wanted to do a bit of both, I think Japan would tick both boxes. Like I said, I haven't been there, but I just think this seems like that you could cover a lot of beautiful things out there, as well as my favourite hobby in the world. So I think out of the whole world, like I know there's Australia, I've never been to. Canada, would love to see at some point, but I think, Japan has to be number one for me.
Yep. It makes sense to me. I believe you.
Some of us already been there.
Yeah. Literally only been to Disney there and didn't see any of the sites, but I claim it.
You've been to Disney Sea. That's not many people can claim that one.
No. I'd say as well, if you are going to Japan, you might as well go to China and Hong Kong while you're there.
Oh, you might as well, yeah.
Why not?
Do them all in one hit. That would be nice.
Okay, so on your island, obviously, you can't just be theme parking all the time.
Oh.
Well, you can, but you also...
Can't I ride Velocicoaster all the time?
If it's raining,
you
might want to just chill out in your island shack and watch a film. What films had the biggest impact on your life, and why is it significant to you?
Oh, my. Listen, I think growing up, I know it's probably quite a basic answer, but like the Disney, that was a huge era of Disney films. The Lion Kings, the Aladdins, the Toy Stories, and like that was that kind of spilled into my love of theme parks as well, going to Disney parks and so on. So obviously Disney films had a huge impact in that sense. Like in terms of now, putting those aside, I don't know really. I guess like I was going to say something like Interstellar. Now, that might be a weird one too, because the film as itself wasn't like the most amazing film ever made, but I think like the audio and like the whole concept of it was quite scary. Now, do I want that on a desert island when I'm on my own?
Yeah, I'm not sure Interstellar's the best comfort film.
No, maybe not. But I think there's something about I think it's Hans Zimmer on that. That music, I've listened to that soundtrack as many as probably the most out of any kind of film score, I reckon. Maybe not Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park will be up there.
Calypso,
Okay,
Jurassic Park, of course.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Jurassic Park will be up there, but no, do you know what? I think in terms of if I was to be on a desert island, it couldn't be something like Interstellar, because like you say, it's not cheerful. It's not going to remind you of much, except for that film's about pretty much the world is dead and you're on your own and you're going to try and find something else. So I guess it's a basic answer, but probably those Disney films, because they do remind you.
You're saying all Disney films?
Right, if I had to say one, it'd be Lion King all day.
The remake, of course, the live action.
Absolutely not. I think just you'd get a hit of nostalgia. Like that's growing up, that's watching it with family, that's, it's an absolutely incredible film. Again, Hans Zimmer, by the way, master at work. I think it
I
is.
didn't know.
I think it's Hans Zimmer, please.
Oh, we can't check, so we'll
Sorry
go
if
with
it
yes.
wasn't.
All I remember is Elton John.
Yeah, but that was like the
The
end, wasn't
soundtrack.
it?
Yeah.
But during the film.
Oh, yeah. The actual soundtrack of the film. I'm not sure if it's Hans Zimmer.
And Tim
good,
Rice?
Good on him.
I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
I could have just sounded like it. Anyway, yeah, I would say Lion King. I just think that hit of everything growing up, that would
Okay.
be my pick.
We'll lock it in then.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we're going to move on to the Giga section.
Section 2. Giga.
So we're starting to get a bit higher in the air.
I'm already feeling tired from this.
So this is quite a tricky one, and you got to have a real think back on this. What is your first theme park memory?
Ooh. First theme park memory. Oh, first theme park memory is tough. I would say one of my earliest was probably going. Actually, probably one of my first as well was going with my mum to Thorpe's and Chessington's, but I would say that Thorpe would be the one that I can remember properly. I would say my mum used to take me every year, Thorpe Park every summer, which is mad because this was before anything was really, like, major was built. So I think Tidal Wave would have been the only major investment at that time.
That would have been my first time at Thorpe.
Yeah. I think that was like I was extremely privileged and lucky to have gone to like Orlando with my family when I was very, very young. But memory wise, that I can't say that was like something that I can remember too much. Like I know, I was too young. I would say when I was started to remember and realise what going to these theme parks would have been, going to Thorpe every year. And it was just Tidal Wave, I think. And then X would have been there, I believe.
Yeah. Would it have been X No Way Out back then, or was it just X? It would have been.
Backwards
It
X,
would have
I think.
been. It would have been there. Maybe the disco version of X.
Yeah, I believe it was. And I've still got the photo at home with me and my mum on it, me pulling this face. I was terrified because I wouldn't go on anything. That would have been the biggest thing I would have done back then. And even that I didn't enjoy it. So I would say, those would have been my earliest, every summer holidays, mum put me in the car onto Thorpe Park. And then, we carried on doing that and they just kept adding stuff year after year at that point.
Yeah, I think we got there was almost was it the 3 flats? What you got? What was it? Was it Eclipse, the Ferris wheel, Detonator,
Yeah.
Vortex, maybe not
wouldn't have gone
Enterprise,
any,
that sounds. But yeah, then they really started. Every year you'd get something.
Yeah, so what was first? Like it was Colossus, right?
Colossus,
Nemesis.
yeah. Then Inferno.
Then Saw, I want to say. Was that?
Was it Saw or Swarm?
I think Saw.
Yeah.
And then Saw.
yeah,
I
and
thought
then-
Saw was like, I don't know. But to be fair, that might have been even, Saw might have come too late when I stopped to go. Because I think Saw was like 2009.
Yeah.
So I don't think I was going with my mum then. But I think the period where they added Colossus and Nemesis, and I would never have gone on those until eventually I rode Nemesis at Towers. That's when it all changed. But
Was Nemesis at Towers your first big
First,
coaster? What you'd
yeah.
class as a big coaster?
that was with my dad. And I did not want to do it. But it changed everything. Because from that moment, there wasn't a coaster, really, that I wouldn't have gone on. And then going back to Thorpe with my mum, and Colossus was there, and I finally did it, and Nemesis. So, I think that's my earliest proper theme park memory.
That's good. That's good. So probably the worst questions come to now because the UK is terrible for them. But what is dark ride that you want installed on your desert island?
Anywhere in the world.
Pick any dark ride. I mean, I can have a guess at what you're going to pick and what your favourites are, but let's ask the question anyway.
The obvious answer is obviously Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure, but we're not going to build a second. That's my favourite dark ride in the world. That's obvious. I think that's my entire personality on anything I do. But I think if I was to pick one to go on a desert island, there's some real front runners there. I'd say something like Haunted Mansion would be up there, / Phantom. Love them both at Disneyland Paris. And obviously E.T. at Universal. Pirates at Disneyland Paris, incredible ride. But I think if I was to pick desert island wise, it would have to be E.T. just because of the memories I've got attached to it. It's not the best dark ride in the world, not by a long stretch. But I think if I'm trying to think of myself plonked on this island,
Yeah.
obviously I think obviously Spider-Man is a much better dark ride, and things like Rise of Resistance are much better rides. But I just think it has to be ET.
And you could chill in ET, whereas Spider-Man Rise, it's all action.
This is it.
Like, you're not gonna just chill in the queue of Spider-Man.
No, you
As
can't.
nice as it is and as replicant of the comic books, you're gonna chill in ET.
No, I don't need Jonah J. Jameson like screaming at me in the queue that something's going wrong. I want to chill with Britannicus. Imagine that on a hot day, walk in that forest, just chill out. E.T. dialing home.
Yeah, you got the smell.
You got the smell. Well, what's left of it? Am I allowed to have it when the smell scent company
You can
was
have it.
in
You can pick a
business?
year.
Yeah. Let's go
You
for
can
the
pick-
90s then,
Okay.
when everything was working and there was an actual smell in there. It has to be. Like, it means too much to me not to be.
It's a good pick. We'll lock it in.
It's Universal base so far.
Universal
That's a
Island
shock
so
to
far.
no one.
Okay, so now it's time to pick another card.
Oh, God.
And this question is going to be a little bit deeper this time.
Oh, wow.
So,
You got one?
what's a memory you never want to let go of?
Oh, okay. Ooh, like I said, I'm glad I'm laying down. Okay, we're going to keep this kind of theme park related, I guess. Can it be?
You don't have
anything?
to. Don't have to be theme parks.
A memory would be kind of any holiday with my nan and granddad. I think that's they were a big part of my family. They were the family, like, no doubt about it. Like, when we lost them, I think that was the family's been, what's the word I'm looking for? Not fractured, because we're still good family.
You don't have that central place where, on a Saturday you could turn up and there's probably someone else there as well.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was they were the family, and I think any family with them, anything with them, whether it's a holiday, let's just say, a holiday to Orlando or something, or a holiday we used to go to Cyprus or whatever. I think if that was a memory, like when we were all together, we were obviously young kids, but parents, brothers, sisters, cousins, all together. I think if you could do that again, I think that would be the thing I'd pick out of anything, 100%.
That's good to hear. And yeah, like, you can tell, looking through the photos you've posted and such, you can tell the kind of relationship there and the relationship with theme parks as well. And I guess you probably wouldn't be as big a fan if it wasn't for them.
No, without doubt. My granddad was the vlogger, the OG vlogger. Like, he was in the 90s going down vlog flumes with the camera. You know, as you're an audio visual fan, that carrying those things,
Yeah,
they weren't easy. So, yeah, like those, they were the biggest part of my love for Orlando. Like that they started going there. Florida as a whole, they used to go to Florida before they started going to Walt Disney World and stuff and Universal. But that's why my love for that place is obviously as high as it is, and that's why I've got such happy memories there because of them. So I think that would be the answer. Yeah,
There'll be the memory sticking with you while you're stranded.
always. No, I don't think anything could come close to replacing that.
Sticking with the kind of personal stuff, I know music plays a massive role in your life, professionally as well as personally, and you obviously need a soundtrack on your island. So what's an album that's had a massive impact on you? And we all know what the answer is. Well, we don't know the album, but we know the artist for definite.
He's obviously going to be The Weeknd, I guess. Listen, there's been some amazing albums. Like, if you're talking about shaping my life, I don't know, but I think that soundtrack, I'd say Dawn FM is the obvious one from The Weeknd, and I know that's like Regency bias or something like that, but it's also come with a shift in my career, that working on those tours and so on has also been me progressing at work and better times from when I was 10 years ago. So I would say it sounds like the easiest and most obvious answer in the world, because probably looking back, there might have been some other albums. There are better albums, but I think in terms of impact, it was, standing there. Only, I know, again, Regency bias, but only this summer, standing there at a tour that I'm working on for my favourite artist, hearing my favourite album in a very, very long time, I would have to pick that, I reckon. I don't know if I could associate an album with that kind of stage in my life, I guess.
And I think you have to add to it although it's recent, the whole lockdown situation was all around the time the album released, if
Yeah.
I'm remembering rightly. Also, for those that don't know, you took a trip to Orlando just to go to a weekend haunted house.
Yes, I did.
So
Booked that one a week before I went.
So, although it's recent, you can tell the impact.
Yeah, I've loved his music for years, but I think, like you say, during that time it was scary for everyone, right? People losing jobs, worse things were obviously going on as well. And at that time, it was like, I don't know whether I'm going to ever work in live music again. So I think that album coming out, and then it kind of went full circle to then you're finally here at that show, and it's like, yeah, that was a cool moment. I think it was like a proud moment. So I think I always associate that album with that, I guess.
And you've got another show. Is it next week? The last show of the tour?
Yeah, last one of the Europe leg. He's off to South America,
okay.
but we don't work on that. So
We don't care about that one.
nah, at that point it's gone.
We need a new album.
See you soon.
Cool. That's your soundtrack sorted.
Done. Obvious, but
Expected. Expected.
I am who I am.
Section 3, Strata.
So we're going to go into the stratosphere now.
Oh my goodness.
So, little behind the scenes info for anyone listening. We're currently recording this in a stargazing pod at Alton Towers. It's the day before Towers Time's massive summer festival event, unofficially known as the Glastonbury for enthusiasts. Thinking about that, what moment did you first consider yourself a theme park enthusiast? You don't have to use the word enthusiast.
I don't mind enthusiast. I can't stick doozy.
I can't say it.
No.
I'm not even going to say it.
I can't get on board with that. I'm sorry to anyone who does, but enthusiast, yes. I think if we're looking back, I remember again, shock and horror, back at Universal in Orlando. And this isn't even to do with theme parks. And I think I've told this story before, but I think when I got really, really excited in the car park for Universal, when I realised that the parking areas were all to do with characters, like E.T., Jaws, King Kong, and others. And I remember being like, that's a cool way. Even though Disney had done it, I obviously hadn't picked up on it at that point. But I think at Universal, I was like, and I remember turning to my mum and being like, that's clever, that, because you're going to remember, I'm in King Kong 15 or whatever. And I remember she turned around and said it was probably the most boring thing I've ever said in my life. And that's when I realised perhaps I'm more interested. And that was a car park, not even to do with the ride.
That's not even theming. That's not theming.
You themed the car park.
Is that theming? That's signage.
Well, Hollywood do a better job, I think. I think they at least put a proper, like ET garage, and they put the proper, like the ET sign above the ride.
Yeah.
It's actual artwork rather than just a picture of ET in black and white.
I don't know. I got dropped off in an Uber on like the second floor of a multi-story.
You've been there and I haven't.
So I don't know.
Wow.
Someone will know.
Observant.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think that was like, yeah, I'm into this. And going home and drawing theme parks on like pieces of paper, my own theme parks, and I'd even put the car park and the parking prices on that. I'm back to
trying to make money.
Well, you got it, didn't you? I think maybe I'm a car park enthusiast because I drew them on the map.
Maybe. What do you think to the stargazing car park?
It's nice, blue lines, different.
Yeah.
And I remember playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and you couldn't do a car park obviously, but put in a load.
So you made your own mod so that you could have car parks?
No, I wasn't that advanced. No, I'd put the grey pathway down and you could almost make a car park. No one was there, but it was a car park.
So is your favourite roller coasters would be the old Six Flags car park coasters because it's the best of both worlds?
I'm going to say no, because no, basically. Okay. But I think, truly going back to the question, I think when we all kind of locked down, and I think everyone came to Twitter, right? I actually had a different account back then, which was from when Twitter started in like whenever it was, and I still had school friends and stuff like that on it. And I think I thought, right, do you know what? I didn't realise, because I can't remember what had happened, but I saw a post about theme parks. I was like really interested. I was like, oh. And I could see people replying. And it was almost like there was this whole world out there. I didn't realise. Like, I didn't think I was the only theme park enthusiast in the world, but I never really got into theme park forums or YouTube at that stage. I was just kind of like I saw rides when I went. Like I wasn't tuned into construction and stuff like that. And I think when lockdown happened, I kind of thought, I'm going to start fresh and start an account to do with theme parks. And that's when I met you and Claire and so many people, made so many friends who all had the same interests. Yeah, everyone argues about everything every day to do with coasters and so on. But I think that was when I not truly became an enthusiast, but I felt like I had someone, I don't know how to explain it, but like I would go to theme parks with perhaps college friends, but it was like a once a year. They weren't into it. It was just, should we do that?
They would moan if you wanted to ride something twice.
Yeah. It wasn't those kind of trips. It was, let's do a couple coasters and go home. Like, obviously with parents earlier on, I think I then realised, hey, I could almost be myself a little bit more and I think that's when I truly felt at home as an enthusiast. I could tweet geeky stuff and not be judged for it. Well, I say judged, but you know what I mean.
You're saying there's no judgment in the enthusiast community?
What was I thinking? But yeah, I would say, going back to your question, I think truly that time, even though it was a scary time for everyone, I think it was mad, wasn't it? We were everyone was online, it almost came together at once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got thrown in a group chat. We didn't know each other.
No, I didn't want to reply on it.
Tommy threw us in a group chat.
Yep.
We watched the Imagineering story.
That was the point of it,
I think.
Because Disney Plus had just launched.
It was like a watch along.
Yeah.
And then we went Fright Nights.
Yeah.
And I said, can you come and amaze with me? Because I don't want to do it on my own. While my wife Kelly sat in Pop Shark. And then we ended up on a 3-week road trip around America and all over the place.
And here we are in a stargazing pod.
Like,
it's cool. I think it's cool. And I
cool.
think I met so many people during that phase. Like, for all of those scary times, I think that was truly, I can be, I'm an enthusiast. Not Thuzy.
Not a Thuzy. No one's a Thuzy. Okay, back to your island.
Yeah.
We need one more ride.
Okay.
What's the ride that means the most to you? Like, some people call it maybe a coaster zero or a ride zero. You're not ranking rides, you're saying that's the one that means the most to me.
Well, I've almost done that already with ET. Because that does genuinely mean the most to me, just because of who I've been on it with, how many times I've been on it, the nostalgia. But I think if I was to pick something else, that's a good question. What would be? Okay, that is a tough one. And I know he's going to say, here I go again. It's got to be Spider-Man now. Because, listen, I gave ET as an answer. Like I said, it's incredibly sentimental to me. That is my ride zero on everything. And Spider-Man may be the mummy, but I think Spider-Man, again, because it's my favourite ride in the world. Above any coaster, above anything. It's my favourite ride in the world. So now I get to ride it along with ET. But again, I've been on it with quite a few family and friends. I think it has to be. Like, if I'm thinking about this and it's like, get some variety, Bob. Like, you basically just built Universal Orlando on a desert island, but also it's like, now I get ET, I get Spider-Man, and I get Velocicoaster. Yeah, I'm so obvious, aren't I?
Yeah. I'm going to say, if Islands of Adventure never existed, do you think you'd be an enthusiast?
Yeah.
You still think you'd have if on your Orlando trips, you'd have just had the Disney parks and Universal Studios park?
100%.
You still be an enthusiast?
Yeah, because it started with Disney.
Okay.
Like, growing up, it was Disney for a holiday and then one day at Universal. I'd say Islands really only became a park that I loved probably in the last 5-6 years. Not saying I didn't enjoy it, but I think I grew up to appreciate it's got IPs that I love. I think the theming's just incredible. Music's great. And it's got some of my favourite rides in the world there. Adding Velocicoaster there just sealed the deal. But fair question. If that park was to not be on my list, I guess probably Nemesis. Because in its original form, because we don't know what the new... I know it's going to be the same.
We don't know strange red, black track.
I'm not getting involved in that. I'm not getting involved in that right now. Judge it when we ride it, James. Okay.
I was going to ride the same, so it'll be great.
You don't know that. It's new track.
Do you think I'll stick a backwards car on?
I don't.
Standard Merlin.
But it's thicker track. Who knows?
Is it thicker track?
Or
has it just got more sand in it or something?
I don't know. You don't know if it's going to ride the same. But maybe Nemesis, because that has a huge significance in my life. I didn't ride coasters then. The biggest thing I'd ever been on at that point was probably X or like Space Mountain, I guess.
But Disney, for some, like, Disney coasters for some reason don't count. Like, I see kids going on Space Mountain in Paris, which obviously has inversions, who will never go on any other coaster. But Disney, it's Disney, so it's fine.
Yeah, it almost puts
My
like
dad has gone on Indiana Jones in Disneyland Paris with his 2 heart attacks, but obviously he's not going to go on Nemesis or Stealth. But it's a Disney park, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's this weird,
even though it's actually quite an intense coaster.
Yeah.
I think there's a Disney gloss to it, and also maybe because it's indoors, and maybe people don't realise. Like,
yeah. I know we didn't know the first time.
No,
Space
I had no
Mountain.
idea.
No.
I didn't even see at that point it properly launched as well. Like, it didn't stop at the top.
He had the full show.
And at that point, even though, because I don't know if it still does. It does, right? Or it still opens up.
No,
It.
no,
It doesn't even do that
doesn't
anymore.
open up. No smoke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ouch. But saying that, like, the first time I did it, I even didn't put 2 and 2 together and watch this coaster launching up the track and think, actually, I don't ever want to do this. But by the time I went to Disneyland Paris for the first time, I had done Nemesis, so I was okay. But yeah, actually, let's take away Spider-Man just because. Let's go different. I think it has to be Nemesis. That has a huge significance in my life because that was the coaster that made me, I think I would have still been a theme park fan even if I didn't love coasters, but to this level, not a chance. Would I have gone on that trip to the US? No way. Like, it has to be Nemesis then because of that significance of made me love roller coasters.
Cool. We'll lock it in.
Yep.
So we got the last question.
Oh.
So this can get quite deep, but you got to pick a card again.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that one.
What is an experience you would want to relive over again?
So many huge moments.
And
Right?
it doesn't have to be theme park.
So many huge moments. I think getting my job was even just the first job was a moment I'll never forget because at that point in my life I didn't know what I was doing. I think everyone has that, don't they? At some point, it's like I don't know what I want to do, where I want to do it. So that was huge. And also, if we're going to do a theme park answer in there as well, I think, family stuff aside, I would say walking in to Cedar Point with yous. That was a special moment because I think also like that's my theme park answer was I've done some incredible things, but I remember Cedar Point being that one park. Even like Dollywood was obviously bucket list, and a few of the others were. There's always been something, I don't know if you're the same about Cedar Point. It's always been that bucket list for me.
Yeah, it's kind of the park that you think as a 15, 16-year-old, well, I'm never going to get there, but it looks cool online.
Yeah, watching Coaster Force
and
videos.
you kind of standing across, is it Lake Erie? I want to say. I might have got that completely wrong. Because we stayed at whatever the hotel is called that is opposite, but not on the actual peninsula.
Yeah.
And when you just look across and that skyline.
It's mad.
And then you get to the car park and you've got gatekeeper just flying across the entrance.
Yeah, that for me, like theme park wise, I just remember getting emotional because I was just like, there was like you say, I remember watching like Coaster Force videos and so on, and thinking, I'll never get to this place.
It was the old travel channels, like top thrill rides in the world, and it would be Millennium Force probably back then.
And they hadn't built, no Still Vengeance back then. No, that was a huge moment because we were well into our trip by then, right?
That was second to last park.
Yeah.
So that was, 10 days in, 1,000 odd miles.
Yeah.
And
like, I had similar feelings at Dollywood. I had similar feelings at Silver Dollar because they were bucket lists as well. But I just remember, we were all just walking into that park. So I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe this was the park I genuinely thought I will never ever come to. And to meet friends and to be able to plan this within a few years and go and do it. Yeah, I'd say I've given you 3 there. But those are all pretty moments that will, stick with me forever.
That sounds good to me. So, back to the island again for one last time.
Yep.
The finale.
You got to have a finale. Is there a nighttime spectacular or show that you'd want to end your day? I'll say end your day every day on the island. You probably wouldn't want it every day, but what would be your?
Oh, what else you got?
Yeah,
You might as well have a spectacular, mightn't you?
yeah.
You know, I know you might be tired from riding Nemesis and ET all day. Have a Velocicoaster. It's got to be ready to begin. It's got to be Happily Ever After. Got to be.
I've never seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Now, when I was in Orlando, the only time I would have had the chance to see it, it was the Christmas show instead.
That's a banger, though.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Magic Kingdom knows what they're doing. Like what was the one they just got rid of? The 50th
Enchantment.
Enchantment. I clowned that at first, but actually seeing it live was actually all right. But
I think you throw them Disney songs on anything, and they're gonna just take you back to your childhood, aren't
yeah,
they?
I've listened. Like Wishes was fantastic. It's a Disney show, like Universal and other parks. They do some great stuff, great spectaculars, but nothing hits you. Like I said, going back to my earliest answers, like Lion King, Disney films growing up. There's no company that smacks you in the heart quite like Disney when they do it right. And I think for me, Happily Ever After, like I said, I remember Wishes a lot, but I think once they added projection mapping, that changed spectaculars. And now they've moved on to drones and stuff. I haven't managed to see any show yet with drones, but I think the projection mapping mixed in with the fireworks, mixed in with an absolutely unreal soundtrack, has to be Happily Ever After.
That's a good choice, and it also means you haven't got a full Universal Island.
I did it. I actually did it. It's all. Oh no, it was not all Orlando. We did get some UK in there. UK got a shout out.
Yeah.
But I think Happily Ever After to end your day again on a desert island. I don't think I get bored of it. Every time I see it, you get a little lump in your throat. You can't go wrong.
What castle would you have it projected on?
Okay.
If you could pick a castle.
I haven't been to them all, like some.
No, but you've seen them.
I've seen them. I'd say Paris. It does. I don't know if it works. Like if we're not talking from a technological point of view.
Yeah, that's for someone else to work out.
Paris castle is stunning. Like that's a real castle, right? That's actually made out of like proper stone and. No,
I have no idea.
I thought they maybe this is just fairy tale, but I thought it was like we're building a park in France. These got real castles.
I know they definitely took inspiration from real castles because, as you say, it's in France. We can't mess about here.
They got real castles.
There's a real dragon underneath it.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah. So because and also they don't have to prepare, like they have to fiberglass it to prepare for hurricanes, I guess as well. Like they do. I think it'd have to be. Don't get me wrong. I think the 50th Magic Kingdom was beautiful. The new colour. I wasn't sure on it at first, and I think the colour's still there, but obviously they've removed all the. But I don't know if they're going to do something for the 100. I guess, but all the parks going to do something for the 100. Maybe.
I don't know.
Sure, they're not going to mess around with Happily Ever After again. When is that next year? 2024.
I thought the 100 had kind of started, hadn't it?
I know
the stuff's in the stuff in the shops, but I don't.
Yeah. Just don't mess around with Happily Ever After again. I think that was a big move because when that went, that angered a lot of people, and I'm like the biggest hypocrite because and I know me and you talk about it a lot. When a ride goes, especially at Disney, people have a meltdown every time, especially Epcot, and it's like I'm very, very much a person that's like, if you get rid of it, as long as something good comes, I'm okay with it, minus ET.
Yeah, you got to have if you're just shutting something, then no, that's bad.
Yeah.
Like Wonders of Life sat there doing nothing. Or Poseidon's Fury potentially sitting there and doing nothing.
Yeah.
If something good comes in, like let's go. I liked Great Movie Ride. It was a great ride. I haven't done Mickey's Railway yet, but I'm sure it's a great ride and a good replacement. Should they have done both, considering the size of the place they've got in Orlando? Probably.
Yeah, I mean that capacity is a different issue, but replacing, I think people need to get over it most of the time. But then when Happily Ever After happened, I remember I almost threw a tantrum because I was like, how could you? Like that show was still, it was a few years in, but I was like, it's still quite fresh. Why not just update it? And that's what I think they realised afterwards. I don't work for Disney management, nor do I have intel, but I was like, I think a lot of people just said you could have just tinkered with it rather than destroy the show and start a new one. And that's what I think, because they've added some new bits, which I haven't seen yet since it's reopened. So yeah, Happily Ever After for me makes me emotional every time. Be a good way to close off a day on a desert island, I think.
Yeah, it's the standard kind of a Disney end to the day is always going to be a good end to the day. I don't think anyone does nighttime shows like Disney.
No.
Because
Because you've got the Hogwarts show, it's only like 5 minutes, but it's also doesn't hit you there.
No, I didn't grow up with Harry Potter, so I've got no Harry Potter reference. So I don't know if that's great or not.
It's technologically great, but it doesn't just something Disney does. And to be fair, like I've never seen a nighttime spectacular at Disneyland Paris because the last time I went was COVID times. They weren't doing it, so I've heard good things. Although that's ending too, right?
No, so they're currently showing Dreams. I want to say I could have got that completely wrong. They've just switched out for the old one, which was really good.
They're always showing out.
And they're on the really good one now, which is the one I saw when I first went.
Okay.
Which actually, what I like about a projection show is if it actually uses the castle and the shape of the castle, not just use it as a projection screen, but actually use the shapes. And that's what I feel the old Disney at Paris did, and it currently does. And then obviously you have the drone bit at the end. At the start.
So that could be a challenger, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And I'm trying to think of other parts, and I know there was nighttime shows on our America trip, but we tended to skip them for things like the Beast Night Ride.
I don't regret that.
No.
I do regret not going back to Dollywood.
Dollywood Drone Show, the Holiday World Drone Show we skipped. Kings Island 50th, which from Claire and Kelly, they said it's amazing, but
I trust their opinion.
That was the Beast Night Ride, wasn't it?
That was the Beast Night Ride. I trust their opinion, but that was a coaster trip. So the Beast I don't regret because I was like that was one of the best coaster experiences ever. But I do regret not going back to Dollywood because I just laid in bed that night, but I was tired. So
we did watch AEW Blood and Guts.
We did.
So that was that was
so swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. I think for now, no one, in my opinion, still no one does it like Disney. So Happily Ever After, Locked In. That's a good desert island.
Good island. We'll recap the island. So your coaster, Velocicoaster. I think we can all agree it's a great coaster.
Yeah.
No need to say anything else. We've got ET.
Sentimental.
Probably, is it the best classic dark ride in the world? Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
I think a lot of people would say things like Haunted Mansion and stuff. But
I'd take ET over. I don't know why I'm deciding on your island here, but I would take ET over Haunted Mansion.
Sentimental wise,
Would I take ET over Pirates Paris? Don't know. Maybe. But I'll go with
as
best.
a dark ride, no. But for the reasons.
Yeah, for the reasons.
For the reasons.
For the reasons. Then we've got your Ride Zero, which we ended up with Nemesis.
Had to be.
And we finished today with Disney Nighttime Spectacular.
Happily Ever After.
Happily Ever After.
That's a good desert island. For me, anyway.
How many days do you think on the island it would take for you to get bored?
You
think that's it? You've got that, but remembering you've also got Dawn FM to listen to.
Oh, mate, I'm sorted.
You've got The Lion King to watch.
I don't think I could. Because, we got 2 coasters there. But we got the dark ride in ET. No, I'm chilling. I'm don't get me wrong, I'm lonely, but I'm chilling because I can. Yeah, like you say, got some nighttime entertainment. Do I want music? Do I want a film? Do I want night rides? Who knows?
Do you want night rides while listening to Dawn FM?
Now, if you put Dawn FM over Nemesis,
would that work?
Less than zero as you're roaring round. I can't get it out of my head. Anyway, I'm pretty content.
Okay. Well, we'll lock the entire island in.
We're in. What's the name of the island?
Whatever you want to call it.
Bobby's Island.
Bobby's Island sounds interesting. It sounds like a dodgy shop in Southend-on-Sea.
Islands of Bob Venture.
I kind of hate it.
It's great. Then we have sorted it.
Yeah, okay, so Islands of Bob Venture is locked in.
Woohoo.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us today on The Dip. Anything you want to leave the listeners with? Tell them where you are, where they can find you.
Well, number one, thank you for having me. First guest, I'm very honoured. So I feel a little bit like I've gone through the emotions.
It is getting a little bit sweaty in the stargazing pod.
It's quite a warm day and the doors are closed and I'm looking forward to getting some air. But no, thank you for having me. You can find me on... I'm still going to call it Twitter. I'm not having
Yeah,
it.
no, it's definitely Twitter still.
Yeah, Twitter at the Bobby Healy, Instagram at the Bobby Healy, and YouTube at Bobby Healy. I think that one.
Just search Bobby Healy, it'll come
Yeah,
up.
find Bobby Healy. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Desert Island Parks. Thank you for listening, and a massive thank you to our guest. Please remember to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow us on all social media at The Dip Podcast.